Welcome back to On the Money with your financial advisor, Ryan Wheelis. Hey, 2040 is around the corner, 15 years away, and we have more Americans turning 65 in the next 15 years at any point in history. What kind of pressure is it going to put on Medicare? What kind of pressure is it going to put on Social Security? And more importantly, what kind of pressure is it going to put on your home economy? Ryan, I think one of the biggest questions right now is how does individually people know if they're saving enough right now?
Man, it's interesting, Spike. We actually can share a little bit of a retirement horror story.
Stories. We got to get our music.
We need the,
I'll get it.
Like Jim Cramer's got all the buttons. We need to get you some buttons, right?
Well, this is our new platform in here, so I will figure out how to get our buttons in here. I'll get them in real soon, I promise.
This was interesting. A lady comes to one of the retirement master classes. We also teach estate planning master classes, tax master classes, healthcare master classes, all around Houston. Give us a call at the office, by the way, if you want to go to one. But anyway, register for one. But she came to one of our courses. She had been working with the same advisor for about 20 years. And the guy had done a good job for her. I'm not going to beat him down. And he worked for one of the big box retailers that we all know their names. But he was adamant that she had to save enough money to fund 120% of her paycheck. And she was, she was saving as much as she could. And we're talking 20% of her income, by the way. She was doing a good job of saving, but she's like, Ryan, with the market volatility as of late, I've been more conservative. My growth numbers have not been as well because I've been concerned about losing my money. I'm 62. I'm single. I don't want to work forever. What am I going to do? Because my current advisor is telling me I need to have this saved, and I don't have that saved. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I want to stop working. I know I've only got so much time left on God's green earth. What do I do? Right? Yeah. And so it was interesting to me because we do retirement at Allied Wealth, and we are the best, hands down, okay? And I can say that for a lot of reasons, but one of them is the education that we provide people. We put the information out there, and we let the chips fall where they may, okay? Because the numbers are the numbers. The facts are the facts. This stuff is what it is, all right? And so I said, listen, let's kind of go through an exercise together, and let's figure out how much you have going to spend in retirement. And how much compared to what you have, and let's kind of do some math together.
Yeah. Can I just real quick let you catch your breath? A couple more questions on it. Just so you said 62, she's single. Was this by choice? Did she have a spouse pass away? Did she go through a divorce, or just not married?
Her husband passed away.
Okay. All right. So the reason I ask that is because if it was totally single, and that's totally fine, but there would be a possibility of some Social Security, or maybe that person's, her husband's Social Security, if it was higher. But it also sounds like she's been working and saving. So is that Social Security on her former spouse, is that going to come into play or no?
Well, we will look at the higher earning records, but hers may be higher because she's going to have worked longer here these last couple of years.
Yeah. Okay.
We would certainly evaluate, what options are available if she's got a widower's benefit, all that stuff. We looked at all that stuff for her. Okay.
Any life saving, and then any insurance or anything like that?
Well, she's got money. She's not broke by any means, but she doesn't feel like she's got enough because her current advisor is saying you need 120%. Yeah, and she's just like, wait a minute, I don't feel like I'm going to hit that number right. And she's coming to us to figure out, what do I do? All right. So a couple of things. Her income's $100,000 a year, and she's got a mortgage on the house that she's going to have paid off in 3 years. All right. So what I did is said, listen, you're making $100,000 a year. You're saving $20,000 a year in your 401k, plus you're getting a match on that, which is awesome, by the way. Good job. She appreciated hearing that, by the way. Then her mortgage is $24,000 a year or $2,000 a month. That's the mortgage portion. That doesn't include her property tax and her insurance. That mortgage will be paid off in 3 years. So now we're in a situation to where she's not going to be saving money for retirement anymore once she retires. You stop putting money in the 401k. Mm-hmm. She's not living on that money now, by the way, because she's putting it in the 401k and saving it. Mm-hmm. All right. Then she pays off the mortgage. So that's another $24,000 a year that she will not be paying once she retires. And by the way, she's paying FICA tax once you don't pay when you retire. That's another $7,650. So she's making $100 now when she retires because she stops putting $20,000 a year into the 401k. She stops paying $24,000 a year on the mortgage, and she stops paying the FICA Medicare tax of 7.65% payroll tax. because she's not on payroll anymore. She's on IRA distributions. Okay. That means that $51,650 a year in expenses go away. So we subtract that from $100,000, and that gives us her retirement income needs about $48,000 a year. All right. So we don't always use the 4% rule at Allied Wealth, or some cases we do, but it is a general guideline and rule of thumb. So I divide that $48,000 a year in income she needs by 4%, and she needs to have $1.2 million saved. Okay. And that will provide her $48,000 a year off her portfolio alone. Forget Social Security. Okay. And she will be able to take that 4% a year out of her portfolio on a balanced portfolio grown for inflation over her life. And that's what the 4% rule says. Okay. So she needs $1.208 million to get to that number, right? $1.2 million. She doesn't have $1.2 million. She's got $800,000. But guess what? She has Social Security that she's going to wait and take until 66. Excuse me, in her case, 67. Yeah. Okay. So the bottom line is, through this exercise, we took her from feeling not confident, concerned, and took her to this basic exercise. And she's like, wait a minute, I feel so much better. This feels good to me. Yeah. I like this. I appreciate you guys going through with this with me. Okay. But then we also had to talk about, listen, you're going to have a spending plan built out with Allied Wealth. That spending plan is going to encompass 3 phases of life. Your go-go years, because you're going to do all your going in the first 12 years. You're going to slow down. You'll keep going, but you won't be traveling across to Europe anymore. You'll do stuff more local in the U.S., okay? You'll move into your slow-go years, okay? And then you'll go into your no-go years. Well, guess what? In your go-go years, your expenses go up by 1.9% a year, not standard 3% a year inflation most advisors use, and her advisor was using, by the way, 1.9%, substantially less. Then in your slow-go years, expenses increase by 0.5% a year, and in your no-go years, it's increased by 0.5% a year. So we built her out a spending plan based on those facts. And by the way, that came from a study that JPMorgan Chase Bank did of 280,000 households, okay? But through this planning process, which people can get right now, Spike, we took this lady from feeling unconfident about retirement to feeling very confident about retirement, even though she felt like she had not saved enough, had not done enough, and was not going to be prepared, right? And folks, you have access to the same type of planning information that we do. Now, we're going to do a much deeper dive with her, by the way, okay? But to get this kind of planning work, folks, it's easy. All you get to do is text the word plan to 21,000. That's PLAN to 21000. All right. You can also call the show 844-944-7555. And what I just took you through was just some basic income planning. We've got a lot more to do. We've got to do a tax plan. We've got to do a legacy plan. We've got to do a healthcare plan. We've got to build an investment plan. We've got to build the income plan out. All right. A lot more stuff to do for her, but very most important thing we want to do is have her leave our office feeling confident she can retire well and live the life of her dreams.
Absolutely. Just like Ryan was saying, you can call the phone number. Let's do your review. You don't have to wait for the last few months before your retirement. Let's find out right now. Maybe you're putting the pressure on yourself. You said something about how you just told her that she's doing well by saving. I can remember a feeling like that once 5 or 6 years ago. I was sitting down with a tax account. I was filing my taxes, and they look down and say, oh, did you really save all of that in your retirement account? I'm like, yeah, I maximized it. Like, good job. And I felt good. I've never forgotten that little tiny compliment. That it's like, yeah, don't forget to give yourself a pat on the back for the victories, like saving for yourself for retirement. But make sure you sit down with somebody who gets the numbers correct for you, who does this all the time.
Hey, Spike, coming up after the break, I've got yet another retirement horror story.
Horror stories on the money with Ryan Wheelis, founder of Allied Wealth. Don't go anywhere, folks. Here on KTRH, continue to listen to us. We're going to have some news, weather, sports, all that stuff, bottom of the hour. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, click on the next video. We got another horror story coming up right after this. 844-944-7555 is the phone number for you to call, or text us at plan 21000. Hit send. We'll get in touch with you. More Ryan Wheelis right after this.